The Fifth Element has everything. Ancient tunes. This movie is basically Indiana Jones, Dredd, Harry Potter, and Star Wars in one.
But it has not gotten its due as one of the all-time great sci-fi films, and we're gonna fix that today.
But don't overlook
Are you German?
a reasonable question to ask of a menacing robo-penguin in 1914. Oh, and check out this Mandachiwan shake his head no in response. Cute.
These are the only aliens in science fiction that I can legitimately describe as armored Skeksis. And that is a good thing.
There's going to be a fight.
Plus, in case you ever forget what movie you're watching, the cast of The Fifth Element has your back.
The fifth element.
The fifth element.
Fifth element.
The Fifth Element.
Me, Fifth Element.
I wish other sci-fi would do this more. Never once has Captain Picard announced to his crew that they're gonna go on a Star Trek.
I love the ship design. It's like a flying Nautilus shell. It's all organic and weird.
Tiny Lister normalized the idea of a Black American president 10 years before Obama. Thank you, sir.
Most sci-fi movies treat their equivalent of the priesthood with so much like gravitas and reverence. In The Fifth Element, there are a bunch of horny weirdos that are in way over their heads. Granted, that's true of most of the characters in the movie, but still, you follow.
A literal ball of evil is as threatening as you're gonna get when it comes to antagonists. It's evil, in ball form.
The political debate in this movie only takes about 5 minutes of screen time, and it ends in Galactus transforming into Ghost Rider and munching a ship.
And check out the rabbi, the cardinal, and the priest in the background of this shot. Someone should really write a joke about that.
You know when a ball of evil gets mad at you and makes goo drip from your hairline? Sick.
Check out youngish Bruce Willis as Corbin Dallas. He almost kind of gave a crap around this era. I think the box office failure of this movie is what finally broke his spirit, but here, he's still got a little spark left in him. In fact, this movie really is the perfect combination of checked in Bruce Willis and checked out Bruce Willis. Perfectly balanced, as Thanos says.
And he's from Brooklyn, just like Captain America.
Cat!
It's the details of this movie that make it truly great. Look at this quit smoking machine. It's in the film for less than a second, but it's so well thought out. The 4 cigs on a timer to be rationed out throughout the day, the comically large ratio of filter to tobacco, and I'm pretty sure that's either a Surgeon General's warning or a doctor's prescription behind them.
Also, look at this mugger's hat. It's a photo of Corbin's empty hallway to trick him when he looks out the peephole. Details, people. Details.
And props to this actor for the full-on commitment to futuristic meth head. That is a dance that really should have caught on.
Bruce Willis laughs. When do you ever get to see that?
Check out this little doohickey that changes the color of the receptionist's nail polish. She's fiddling with it in every scene she's in, and it's just so cool every time.
You know what, if you're gonna use genetics mumbo jumbo to explain the existence of special powers, just get it out of the way early.
Normal human beings have 40 DNA memo groups. This has 200,000 memo groups.
Mammogram groups, Sure.
The human being printer probably inspired the best part of Westworld, which I believe is the opening credits.
This movie is French in the best way. There's rampant toplessness, rude waiters, and ineffectual military. It's, how you say, bon.
Speaking of great French people, real-life high-fashion designer Jean-Paul Gaultier did the costumes for this movie, and holy crap! Look at this one!
Or look at this one.
Or this one.
Most innovative use of an ace bandage ever seen on screen.
Mila is very impressive all around in this movie, but what impresses me the most is how convincing her gibberish is. And that growl, that's such a perfect, like, oh shit moment.
Run, Lilo, punch! That's it, I just like that as an alternate title.
This is Mila Jovovich's action debut, so thank this movie for the Resident Evil franchise. At least the first one. Kind of downhill from there.
And look, if you're gonna do product placement, do something the brand could not have thought up themselves.
2 golden menus.
I wish McDonald's looked like this.
Also, this cop who doesn't bother to chase Corbin until he spills his McDonald's, he's played by an actor named Mac McDonald. Perfect casting.
Speaking of perfect casting, the roles of Corbin, Lilu, and Ruby were originally meant for Mel Gibson, Julia Roberts, and Prince. Now, obviously, Prince would have been incredible, but I think we got an upgrade for the other two.
Probably why the film's not for everyone is because it's a mix of action and melodrama and farce and physical comedy, but those 4 elements combine to form something greater than the sum of its parts, a fifth element, if you will.
Lilo taught a generation of men about consent. Also, a moment to appreciate a spacewoman so hot that she can crash into your car, make you lose your license, and still, one look into her eyes and you go to war with the cops. No questions asked.
I have no proof, but I'm just gonna say this scene inspired the Matrix I know Kung Fu moment.
I know Kung Fu.
Chicken. Good.
You know what? She's right. Chicken is good. Also, don't jump to conclusions about that Adolf magazine in Corbin's apartment. It's actually a famous manga about the horrors of World War II, and the other book, Sanctuary, lying underneath is a manga too. He's not a Nazi, he's an otaku.
Emmanuel Jean-Baptiste Zorg is one of the great villains in film. He just stepped off a Savannah veranda where he was enjoying a refreshing mint julep directly into a future where he's free to express his sassy apocalyptic vibes. Don't ask questions, just let that roll over you.
You're a monster, Zorg. I know.
Gary Oldman.
Not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4! 4 stones!
He smokes cigs and doesn't look at explosions. He's got some kind of bald baby snuffleupagus in his desk.
Cat?
And his plastic head shield, hair shield, forehead window, I don't know what it is, but I like it.
The ZF-1 sounds like something a 10-year-old would have come up with in a sketchbook, and by 10-year-old I mean me, but the Fifth Element said, you know what, nah, let's just make this for real. Moments like this make me realize Zorg is the mirror universe Tony Stark. What if Tony had gotten rotten, made some interesting haircut choices, and then made a deal with the Space Devil?
I'll be throwing one of these in with every purchase of 500 million or more.
Very few films recognize the incredible untapped acting potential of mainstream 90s era trip-hop artists, but thank goodness Besson found a role for Tricky.
Look at the cross-cutting here for comedic effect and to make the exposition go by smoothly.
This case is empty.
They do this a bunch in this movie, and it works every time. Oh, and they literally bug the president. Get it?
Badass action heroes don't typically get berated by their mothers throughout the film.
You got broken fingers, you can't punch my number?
But this isn't your typical action movie. This is a movie that respects mothers.
Fifth Element doesn't hide their racial caricatures of Chinese people behind Trade Federation aliens. They just put a racial caricature of a Chinese guy in it. So, yeah. That said, there are more human beings of color in this one film than the 2 biggest sci-fi film franchises combined.
And that said, has there been a more appetizing restaurant in sci-fi than a Chinese food skiff?
Corbin wastes his second to last match here. Only repeat viewers of the film know how gut-wrenching that moment really is. Very progressive to be fridging the military instead of the love interest.
I love the line,
negative, I am a meat popsicle.
I will love it forever.
God damn, even in the future, the airport is always under construction.
I love how the Earth in this film toes the line of dystopia without going full grimdark with it. Like, sure, it's probably a crappy place to live, but so's New York City for most people. It portrays a world where technology improved, but humans' material and spiritual conditions mostly stayed the same. That feels more realistic to me than the Trek future.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Name a more iconic duo. Oh, wait. And hey, can we talk about a sci-fi movie that knows when to take its time and just chill with an extended electric reggae fueling sequence?
The droids in this universe are very clearly robots without a sense of self or feelings of pain and sentience, which is a nice way of dodging all those icky, are droids slaves questions that Star Wars raises.
You know, Ruby Rod isn't everyone's cup of tea, but he is mine, and again, it's all about the details. Check out the dragon inlays on his microphone. Check out how he signs these Japanese schoolgirls' photos with a line of red paint and they all get bummed out. Check out how he signs the ship's guest book with champagne.
Also, so much modern blockbuster science fiction is just sexless. Ruby Rod fixes all of that real quick.
I don't want one position, I want all positions.
And the man has a platinum dong fro. Timeless haircut.
Speaking of haircuts, give it up for Bruce Willis making frosted tips look cool.
And how about this Princess Leia on HGH2? Rock it, bitch.
And look at Bruce Willis's contempt face. That is what pure disgust looks like, people.
You can get into some real trouble on Flossed in Paradise. It's basically like a 70s key party at an intergalactic Club Med.
And here we have Roy Von Baker, king of Laserball.
Oh, damn, I want to see some Laserball.
Time to talk about the diva sequence. It's the best musical moment in any sci-fi film of all time, easily. The song is performed by a fledgling opera singer who's gone on to become one of the top sopranos in the world, Inva Mulo. The composer said Inva pulled off 85% of the sections he thought were technically impossible.
Look at that sweet dance she does while she sings. Dual threat.
Just like the cowbell sketch is even funnier because of reaction, the diva song is enhanced because of Corbin's entranced reaction to her performance. A great, quiet moment before all hell breaks loose.
And listen to her speaking voice.
The supreme being sent to Earth.
That auto-tune is all real. You can't convince me that's not actually a blue lady.
Sometimes a movie's great for what it didn't show you, namely how the diva managed to swallow 4 enormous bricks. See, I told you this movie inspired The Matrix.
Ruby!
I love how Ruby apologizes after he shoots that alien in the head.
Sorry.
It's nice.
Think it's gonna be okay?
See, this is where actually building sets really shines, because you can destroy them. It looks real because it is real. If this was made today, it would just look like some actors flailing around on a green screen while people throw tennis balls at them and weightless explosions go off all around them. And speaking of green, that's believable future slang. We will at some point in our lives say green when things are good.
Oh, crystal green.
Any kind of green.
Or super green.
And if we're gonna talk green, can we talk orange? Because it's an underrated color that the Fifth Element wears well. Lilo's hair, Corbin's tank top.
Chris Tucker can make you laugh with a scream, and then again with a smaller, funnier scream.
There's no better way to show the Pleasure Cruise security team is ineffectual than to put them all in little white shorts. Perfect costume choice.
You know what's crazy about this movie? The protagonist and the antagonist we spend the most time with, Corbin and Zorg, they never actually cross paths. The entire movie, I bet you didn't notice. Their most direct interaction is when Zorg's company fires him. Is this a statement about the dehumanizing effects of corporatism and how it insulates CEOs from the horrors they inflict on the working class? Probably not. But it's really fun to think about.
You know Corbin Dallas, he doesn't have time for your bullshit, Mr. President.
Any idea when you're going to be getting to the point?
All right, I'll admit it. Air for air, water for water, fire for fire. It's pretty dumb as far as riddles go. But you wouldn't do your best thinking either if the fate of the world was on your shoulders.
I love how by the end of the film, Chris Tucker has turned Corbin, my man, into a single word.
Corbin, my man.
A smoking habit saves the world, and there is nothing as French or pimp as that in all of fiction.
Lila spends a lot of time in this movie breaking things, passed out, or eating. She is basically a super toddler.
Ruby Rod just straight up ghosts the rest of the cast after saving the world.
I'm leaving.
Man is a legend.
Any movie with the gall to end on a sex jam freeze frame, that movie's all right in my book. That took stones in 1997. Not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4.
I love this film. It's got all the excitement of feeling like you visited 1,000 planets without having to watch City of 1,000 Planets.
I love this film. It's definitely the most fun of Luc Besson presents Luc Besson's childlike, traumatized, but also super badass lady sex object trilogy. With Nikita, Lucy, this movie.
I love this film, but it's still just my second favorite movie about a death planet that sends a herald to steal the only relic that can stop him from destroying everything in his path that gets frozen as a moon in the orbit of the planet at the end. The other one is Transformers the movie.
Megatron must be stopped.
I really like Transformers, you guys.
Oh, whoops, that was 101 reasons.
You want to just do 99 more? We can make it an even 200. I got time.
Yeah, let's just make 300. I mean, why am I the boss, even if I can't waste everybody's time by making a video about the Fifth Element?
I think we could get to 1,000. Green?
Oh, green.
Super green.